beginning of my real estate investing career.
Yeah. Just kind of briefly, but hey, everyone, it's Rich Monroe with BNB Investing Group. Thanks for jumping on this week. BNB Investing Group helps investors navigate the short-term rental model, whether you're managing properties or if you're doing acquisitions or if you're doing the rental arbitrage model. And so thankful that I have a good friend of mine joining us today, Jason Matthews. He's kind of got experiences that touch all three of those strategies. And so kind of looking forward to catching up and kind of hearing his story. So Jason, thanks so much for jumping on. Maybe give us a brief background of what your real estate experience, your vast real estate experience has been.
Yeah. Appreciate you having me on, Rich. I really enjoy when I get to share some knowledge, about the real estate game that's been so good to my family over the last 28 years. And it's exciting business to be in. But I started back in 1996. Actually started on the commercial side with a construction supply company. Good friend of mine, Curtis Aiken. He played basketball at Pitt right before I did. We created a commercial construction supply company in Pittsburgh, PA. Both of us played at Pitt. And we created the company, and Pittsburgh was going through a tremendous building boom on its waterfronts and downtown. And the mayor at the time, Mayor Murphy, asked me to be a volunteer on his downtown revitalization plan. He was looking to get some younger people involved. And I took it as an opportunity to really learn how you rebuild a downtown. How do you build a NFL football stadium? How do you build a Major League Baseball park? How do you build a convention center, office buildings, department stores? So I was exposed to how to build all this stuff in a very intimate fashion, jumping into real estate, being my mid 20s. And so I realized what the opportunity was, and I know being involved in this would carry me the rest of my career. So I was really in the moment, even though I was working like 15 hours a day, 18 hours a day, exhausted. But we had several contracts, construction supply contracts on these projects. And I went to every engineer meeting, went to every architect meeting. I really got engaged in the process because I knew it was a tremendous learning curve for me. And then I began investing. One of my best friends I went to college with, Doug Dorsey, he kind of, got me going in the real estate investment game. And then so I started buying up properties in adjacent neighborhoods because I had the inside track on where all the stuff was going to be built. So I started buying properties in the adjacent neighborhoods and renovating them and selling them and all that kind of stuff. So that's how I learned how to flip properties. And all the profits we made from our construction supply company, I reinvested them into flipping houses in these adjacent neighborhoods. And that's how I kind of got started. And my first flip was a HUD foreclosure. I bought it for like $27,000. I put $15,000 into it, and I sold it. And I remember getting a check for like $7,902 and some cents at the closing. I was staring at it. I was looking at it. I was staring at it. I said to myself, "This is how you're going to make a living the rest of your life." And
Nice.
that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
And after I got going, I knew that my grandmother owned her house. She owned the house next door and the house around the corner. So after I got going, my mom started telling me just the history of how my grandmother pulled off those three deals. And I was like, okay, this is in my DNA. I said, okay. This is in my DNA. So be very comfortable in this space. And that's what like got me started. And I had great mentors. John Palusi, phenomenal real estate career. He's done a lot. Was my first real estate mentor. My uncle Herm Tomer, land development guy, was like my second major mentor. So I've really benefited from some giants in the business, really, teaching me the game. And bankers, Jim Rohr, CEO of PNC Bank, helped me. A lot of other bankers, Ron Hunt, that was at National City, he helped me. A lot of good people like Will Hines, John Lehman. I go down the line. Like a lot of people really embraced me and
Nice.
showed me the game. My guy Hadi Hanna had a retail, one of the largest retail, brokerages in the area. He embraced me, taught me the game. So had a lot of good people show me what to do.
Very cool. Very cool. So, what got you introduced or starting with short-term rentals?
We moved to Tampa 6 years ago, and before we moved, a good friend of mine, Gerald Jones, who worked in Pittsburgh with Major League Baseball. We became friends in Pittsburgh, and then he moved his family to the Tampa area. And I reached out to him when we knew we were moving. He's like, Jay, instead of flipping houses like you guys do in Pittsburgh, you really need to look at the vacation rental game, and you guys would do really well. And thanks to Gerald, Jules and I started doing a bunch of research on vacation rentals, short-term rentals, understood the snowbird factor of the Canadians and the Northeasterners and the Midwesterners coming down to Florida to get out the cold weather. And so we studied it before we moved. And then once we, start renovating properties and things of that nature, we realized that we didn't want to get started until we had like some good property management companies. So we actually started with 7 properties because we were in the middle of renovating 7 properties, and we said instead of selling them, that we were going to operate them as short-term rentals, and that's how we got started. And I'll tell you just funny story, appreciative story. We had no idea how we were going to actually furnish 7 properties. That was
Hmm.
not in, that was not in the rehab budget. So Jules and I, Jules and I being creative. Uh, I don't know if she came up with it or if I came up. Doug, my best friend Doug Dorsey. Doug was like, Jay, go to Rent a Center, set it up, lease all this stuff from Rent a Center, and then when you can afford to buy your own stuff, they allow you to turn it in. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, go to Rent a Center. So we literally furnished our first 7 properties on Rent a Center leased furniture.
Nice.
Talk about
Nice.
being creative. Then I went to a furniture place in Ybor City, big furniture warehouse. Went talked to the manager. I said, "Look, here's the deal. We've been in this for a while. We know what we're doing. We have 7 properties to outfit. Can you work out a payment plan for us?" So all the stuff we couldn't get from Rent a Center, we got from this other place, and they worked out a payment plan with us, and that's how we got started.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, did you guys self-manage in the beginning, or did you have someone managing them for you?
Absolutely not. Jules and I knew better. That's why you and Marva, we built a relationship with you guys. No, you don't want me self man. You don't want me engaging with the general public. It's like, Jules is the social butterfly. I'm the contractual financial guy. So no, we had no intent to self manage. It's really not what we do.
All right. So you buy the properties, you get them set up, and then you're basically having a management company like Diamond Edge Properties, like we did for you in Tampa, kind of
Yep.
step in and handle the management of the properties. And then essentially you're kind of freed up to add more units and kind of look more spend more time strategically than on operations.
Correct. I mean, we're building a portfolio for the kids, and my time is best spent analyzing what Jules and Alexis find, and I look at it, I underwrite it. We pretty much know all the neighborhoods by this point. So once they find one, pretty much know the neighborhood, run the numbers, use AirDNA a lot, and then make our decision, and then raise the capital and go ahead and close.
Okay. And some of these properties you got acquired through distressed and then rehabbing, and then others you actually did the master lease or rental arbitrage strategy, right?
Yes, yeah, we've done
And
both. Some we really went hard into the arbitrage after keeping those 7 to balance out our portfolio. And once we were able to stabilize that portfolio, we did not renew some of the leases and went out and purchased more more properties. And what we found is buying them, renovating them, setting them up on short-term rentals, we began to get inquiries from investors asking us if we had any short-term rental properties we wanted to sell. And accidentally, that actually became a business model to buy, renovate, furnish, short-term rental list, get it professionally managed, and then after 6 months, put it up for sale. And investors wanted to buy it with the furniture included. So we'd make an extra 15,000 by leaving the furnishings in there, and then we would hand them over to Diamond Edge to manage the property for the new investor that bought the properties.
Very cool. So now you're kind of playing all sides of the fence. You're getting investment dollars, other people's money to grow the portfolio. You're using other resources, management companies, to manage the operation, and essentially, you're the master of putting everything together. And so, a lot of investors out there don't realize that you don't really have to fit yourself in one box and just kind of stick to that. You can kind of be very creative, like you guys have, to kind of be able to grow quickly and grow a scalable business.
Yeah, I think that I got some really good advice from my mentors years ago about working with your spouse. And they explained to me that ladies have to have a sense of control over their business environment. So they recommended do a separation of duties, and you both can discuss before a final decision is made. But Jules is always like design and construction. So she handles the design and construction side, and she'd rather me handle the financial and contractual side. That doesn't mean that we still don't have our internal battles of budget and aesthetic, you know, like ROI. And she's like, but this looks great. So we still have those challenges. But for the most part, she handles the design and construction, and I handle the financial and contractual. So it's a good balance.
Yeah, Marva and I, my wife, are very similar. She gets very much involved with, when we do rehabs, kind of the design feature of it, working with the contractors, picking out tile and colors, and then also obviously staging properties and setting them up in the beginning. And so I agree with you that divide and conquer and kind of stay in your lane is
Mhm.
definitely kind of a successful model for sure for spouses to work together.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to come home and have dinner with my family at the same table. At the same table.
Absolutely, absolutely. It helps to make sure everybody's happy, right?
Yeah, as happy as they can be.
So most of your portfolio during this time period that we're talking about here were mostly 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom homes, single family, maybe a couple 3 bedrooms in there. Um, what kind of got you involved with looking at other types of properties besides the single family?
Sure. When we started, the city of Tampa had a significant deficiency of hotel rooms. So when we got started, we were really filling a major void in the city of Tampa because they could not handle like the conventions and stuff like that. But over the last 3 years, what has occurred is I think Tampa's added about 850 hotel rooms.
Hmm.
So what we did when I read the Tampa Bay Business Journal, I really pay attention to what's going on. I saw hotel after hotel, and I mean like JW Marriott, the Edition, like some nice higher end hotels. What I did was I said, there's a shift happening. I'm like, I think we should sell these houses that we have. I think we should cancel some of these leases we have, take those profits and reinvest in the beach communities. So that's what we've done over the last 18 months or so is we sold the Tampa properties we owned, and we reinvested in the Gulf Coast, the West Coast of Florida beach communities because families have been going to the beach for over 100 years. So it's a very mature market where city of Tampa for Airbnb, VRBO, short-term rentals was not a new market. I mean, was a new market and we made our money. We sold the properties. We have a housing shortage in Tampa, so we sold the properties, made good money on those, and then reinvested in the beach communities.
So it's always good to be able to be flexible and nimble and kind of be able to pivot and adjust based on market conditions. And when you've kind of gone off into the beach areas, what type of properties have you been looking at there for short-term rentals?
Sure, we have a variety. We have beach condos. We have some 600 square feet to 900 square feet beach condos, low rise, not the high rises. Uh, Three of them are 1 story. The other one is 2 stories. We also have some Airbnb hotels where 6 doors, uh, totally renovate them, make them funky cool like South Beach, decorate them real modern, real nice, walking distance to the beach. We've done those, and now we're in the middle of developing 5 luxury homes, 4,000 square foot luxury homes, 5 bedroom, 5 bath. So we'll have a mix. So we'll have the condos, we'll have the Airbnb hotels, and we'll have the luxury homes, the 4,000 square foot luxury homes. So we'll have a diversification of offering.
So let's talk a little bit about the Airbnb hotels, because I know for some people that might be a new concept. Walk us through kind of what is that? What is an Airbnb hotel exactly?
So the phrase Airbnb hotel, you take a apartment building, multifamily building, and kind of like what Sonder has done, and you convert it to short-term rentals. So we have a West Palm Beach 9 unit, newly renovated apartment building that we master lease. We don't own it. We master leases, arbitrage it. 9 units, right. Half a block from the water, um, close to the marina. Very nice location. 7 minute Uber ride over to Palm Beach, right across the bridge. And we master leased all 9 units, and we put all the units on Airbnb, VRBO, other platforms, and people come and book and stay. Then in the other beach communities, we have some that we own, where they were old motels. We totally renovated them, updated them, made them look real nice, and people come in and stay there. And in the state of Florida, from 5 doors to 24 doors, you can obtain a motel license, and that motel license allows you to do daily rentals on it. And then once you get to door 25, they start treating you like Marriott, Hyatt, Hilton, Wyndham, and Jules and I don't want to be in the hotel business. So we stay in that 4 door to 25 door range.
All right. So the hotel license, does that basically allow you to circumvent some of the local ordinances that might be in place for other short-term rental units that are individual units, or not really?
Well, it depends. You still have to look at the municipalities and see
Hmm.
what regulations and codes they have on the books. So it's a motel license, not a hotel license. So 5 doors to 24 doors, motel with an M.
Got it.
And in some municipalities that try to fight it, what you have to do is go through a process and identify the historic use of the property. So one of our properties right now, the historic use of the property was a short-term rental, and the city was trying to say that that's not accurate. But our phenomenal attorney has done some digging and some homework, and it's been pretty much able to show, that historically, this particular property with studios that are small in a beach community, this is what it's always been in a beach community. Families come on vacation and they stay close to the beach in these motels. That's, in Florida, every motel that was built in a beach community was for vacation, for
Right.
families to come and or individuals to come and enjoy their vacation, or snowbirds that come and want to get out the cold weather.
Hmm.
So you just have to look at, we use municode.com. Municode.com covers every municipality in the country and gives you their housing and residential policies and regulations and laws and stuff like that. So you still have to check that, but don't be afraid to fight. On
Hmm.
this particular property, we were not afraid to fight. We were like, this is a beach community motel. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's always been used for that.
Now,
So
do
just
you have any walk-in business that like traditional motels do, or is it all booked online?
all books, the background check and everything.
Got
Yeah.
you. Got
No
you. That's
walk-ins.
key. No
Nope.
walk-ins.
No.
No checking in at 2 in the morning
No.
with a case of beer.
No. 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 We are not in that business. And we're not in the business of people coming on their lunch breaks, staying for a couple hours, and then going back to work.
Yeah.
We're not in
Yeah.
that. We're not in that business either.
Got it. And so we have a question in the comments. We had a couple comments actually. Folks are saying, "Hey, I guess when you were describing your experience, somebody called you a gangster." I'm not able to say who's saying what, but it may be one of your buddies. But we also got a comment: "Good man, focus on growing and scaling, and not being in the weeds." Um, Great idea. And then we have a question about how do you prospect for Airbnb hotel deals?
Jules has always been phenomenal at finding deals. It's hilarious. She sent me a text message like an hour ago, like, "Babe, I was just driving down the street. My eyes went to a property, and automatically I start going through the rehab in my head." So she is found. She just you do it for so long. She's been at it full time for 24 years that she just knows how to do it. So she
Right.
finds a lot of them, and then we have a phenomenal. Um, I don't like to call Alexis just a realtor because Alexis is much more than that. She's an investor. She's a developer. She's just phenomenal. So her and Jules do a great job of finding deals. My buddy Joe E. Banks, Joe's a phenomenal wholesaler. He's found a lot of deals for us. And the RIA groups, as you know, being in the RIA groups, you can find deals there as well. So that's how we've been able to
So
find deals.
yeah, so that's awesome. So on the master lease 9 unit beach property that you did, so most of my experience with master leasing multi units, I usually start out with 1 or 2 units, and then the owner of the building is like, "Wow, this is really cool. There's properties are staying in great shape. You're paying me every month compared to my other tenants." As other long-term tenants are expiring, we get the other ones converted, and before you know it, we're at like 20 units, and we've got the whole building. How did you get the 9 units in that master lease? Was it a different situation? Did you kind of pick them all up at the same time?
Yeah, we picked them up all at the same time. What happened is a realtor in the area who I met at a real estate investment conference gave me a heads up on the deal. And she was like, "You can get all nine because they just renovated them. So they haven't even had tenants yet because they just finished the renovation. And they're not even 100% finished with the renovation." So we were able to approach, the owner and say, "Hey, we'll master lease the whole thing." And that's what we ended up doing. And one thing we learned, and I'm glad you walked everyone through how you and Marva approached getting a whole building, because we've realized that you don't want to mix short-term rentals with long-term rentals, because the long-term rental people get pissed off and they start
Yeah.
saying things that are not true about your short-term rental guests. So I can't remember who explained it to me, but they gave me a really good suggestion. They said, "Jay, if you can't get the whole building, try to get a floor. Like if it's a
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 story building, try to get a floor so your short-term rental folks are not on the same floor as the long-term rental folks." So we were just fortunate and able to find a real estate investor who had just renovated a property, and they hadn't started with leasing long-term tenants yet. So we were able to get the whole building. If we were not able to get the whole building, I don't believe I would have done it, because it's just not a good mix to have. And this is just one level, so it's not like it's 3 or 4
Yeah.
stories. This is all nine are on the same level. So
Hmm.
we just got fortunate. We were just fortunate. It's three different buildings. One building has 4 units, one has 2 studios, and the other one has 3 units.
Very cool. What are just the high level numbers like on 1 unit? What's the master lease rent, and kind of what's the projected revenue on it, just to get a sense?
Sure. So this particular location is West Palm Beach, so the numbers are going to be a little bit, a little bit higher than others, but the the monthly lease payment is higher than what it would be in Tampa. So
Right.
you can still do well. I think you can end up at like a 1.5, 1.6. Tampa market, you can get like a 2.0. You can get double, what you can get long term rental rates in that market, probably like 1.6, 1.7 is probably what you can
Okay.
get. Yeah.
Okay. So if the rent, just to keep the numbers easy, if the rent's 1,000, then you're going to do 1,700 gross,
17, 1800. Yeah.
and then or 2,000 depending on.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Very cool. Now, before we jumped on, Jason, we were chatting a little bit, and you had mentioned you just got a text on a deal you thought had fell apart. That's another Airbnb hotel. That looks like it's coming back to the table. So what's that one? Is that in the same area as well?
Well, same area. Thanks to Alexis doing what she does. Phenomenal, phenomenal businesswoman. She just didn't give up on the deal. She brought us the deal, had some title issues a year ago, and the seller had some challenges in getting them cleared up. And she was working behind the scenes for 12 months, got it worked out, worked with our very valued real estate attorney, Christine, and two ladies got it worked out. And right before we jumped on, Christine called me and Alexis texted me. So we're happy.
Very nice. And how many units is that one?
Six.
Okay.
But the most important thing is it's right next door to one we already own. So now we have two side by side.
Very cool.
So do
Very cool.
You know what Jules is going to do, right? She's going to go to our architect and say, "What can we build if when we tear these down?" She's going to go to Gil from Livestone Consulting, our architect. She's going to go to Gil and say, "Gil, don't tell Jason I'm here, but we knock these down. What can we build?"
She's already in design mode.
Yep, already in
Very
design
cool.
construction mode. Yep.
Nice, nice. So as we get ready to close this out, Jason, what does the future look like? What are your goals? Kind of what's your next steps? Is it continue with the diversification? Is there anything in particular that you're going to be focused on for growth, or kind of what are you looking at?
Well, at this point in my career, I realized that I work for Brandon, Marina, and Taylor. So
Your children?
coming to the realization that I no longer work for my wife and I, like she understands who we work for now. So on a serious note, I let people know you want to buy the assets that your kids will want to own. Because if not, your kids will sell those assets off so quick at a discount because they don't want their parents' job. So literally, when Jules and I look at what to buy, one of the reasons why we're in the beach communities is because we know the kids would want to have those beach properties. And I have these discussions with a lot of my friends that have been at it for a while. Um, One gentleman in my real estate investment group owns 700 single family homes in a particular state. I pulled him to the side and I said, "That's what you wanted to do, but what do you think your kids would do?" And he's like, "Jay, I never really thought about it that way." I'm like,
Hmm.
they're probably not going to want to do that. So you may want to buy a multifamily, sell a bunch of those, buy a multifamily in a metropolitan area, and that will be an asset that your kids would probably want to hang on to, a 200, 250, 300 unit multifamily, buy self storage, low maintenance, low management, self storage, RV park, buy something that discuss it. We talk to the kids about, what we're doing and if they would want to hold on to it and stuff like that, because I've benefited in my career from this very situation. The
Hmm.
husband passes away, the widow doesn't want to deal with it, fire sale, the kids, fire sale, they don't want to deal with the properties their parents had, fire sale, and we buy them. And so we really try to be in tune to what our kids would be interested in. And I get grilled by Taylor. I just put 2 deals under agreement. She's like, Dad, why are you doing this? What did you buy this for? I'm like, okay, these are for sale. Okay, we're not going to hold these. This is buy, build, sell with partners. But she was right on it. I sent her the
Yeah.
email. She hit me back in less than 60 seconds with the criticism. Dad,
Yeah.
what are you doing? What are these? What are we doing here? What are these properties for? These aren't short-term rentals. So it's a reality. And what she was saying is, I'm not going to want to manage or have anything to do with these properties in a great location. But she's like, this isn't the product type that we deal with. And I'm like, my skill set is needed with other partners. Everyone's going to play their role. And this is a for sale situation. And she's like, oh, okay. All right. I'm good. So
That's very cool. So you're building a legacy that you know is going to be sound, essentially.
correct.
That's very
Yeah,
cool.
we like storage. We like self storage. We like boat storage. We like RV parks. So Joe Ebanks and I have been talking about, the storage game, and a lot of our colleagues in our real estate investment group are very, very successful in the storage game. So again, no long term tenants. If you gotta kick somebody out, come get your stuff. You're out $1,500, $2,000. They don't come get their stuff. You cut the lock and do whatever with their belongings in the storage locker. You're not dealing with people living on the property. So if people don't pay, it's really not a big deal to, get them out so you can get a paying tenant in. So it fits our family's personality, the storage. I like it.
Awesome. Very cool. So listen, I appreciate you taking the time today, Jason. This has been very informative. I wish you all well with the Airbnb hotel. It sounds like you're going to be off to a good start to kind of grow that business now, and as well as the other units that you have. And it's always been a pleasure working with you and kind of learning together. And so
Absolutely.
Thanks again for coming on. So thanks everybody for jumping on this week. If you're interested in learning more about what BNB Investing Group does to help investors that want to take action now, want to grow a scalable short-term rental business, we can help you with that. Send me a DM and we can schedule a quick call and see if this is a good fit for you or not. But Jason, thanks again, buddy, for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Anytime. I'm honored that you had me on. Greatly appreciate it. And if you need me to come back, just let me know. Anytime, buddy.
Sounds good. We'll definitely do that to get an update from you. So thanks again.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. We'll see you next week.